Captain Ethan Cole, a decorated Air Force pilot, stood at the entrance of the White House. His uniform was immaculate, every ribbon perfectly aligned, yet his palms were damp with sweat. He wasn't here to receive an award. He had come because of a secret he had carried for 10 long years, a burden he believed only the president could help him resolve. As the Secret Service escorted him through the halls toward the Oval Office, Ethan felt his heartbeat echo in his ears. President Donald Trump sat behind a resolute desk reviewing a stack of documents. He glanced up as Ethan entered, studying the nervous officer in front of him. "Captain Cole," Trump said, setting his papers aside, "I'm told you have something urgent to discuss." Ethan swallowed hard and nodded. "Yes, Mr. President. I need your help with something I've kept hidden for years. It's about a mission I was part of, a promise I made to someone, and now I finally have a chance to keep it." Trump folded his arms. "All right, Captain. I'm listening." 10 years ago, Ethan began, I was deployed on a classified operation in Afghanistan. It was supposed to be routine intelligence gathering. No engagement, no complications. But everything went wrong. "Go on," Trump urged. "My crew and I were flying over hostile territory when we received a distress call. A local informant who had helped U.S. forces was trapped and about to be captured. We weren't authorized to intervene, but I made the call anyway." Trump nodded slowly. "And?" Ethan's voice grew heavy. "We rescued him. His name was Ruffy. He had saved American lives, and in return I promised to get his family to safety." "And did you?" the president asked. "No, sir." Ethan shook his head in shame. The extraction plan fell apart. Ruffy was executed before we could arrange it. His wife and young daughter were left behind. If they are still alive, they've been hiding ever since. I've spent the last decade trying to find them." Trump leaned forward, his expression hardening. "You're telling me the family of one of our allies is still trapped in a war zone?" "Yes, Mr. President," Ethan replied. "And recently I finally uncovered a lead, a possible location." "Where?" Trump asked. "A refugee camp in northern Pakistan," Ethan said. "I have reason to believe they're there." Trump studied him for a long moment, then reached for his phone. "You've got guts coming here like this, Captain." He pressed a button. "Get me General Lawson." Within seconds, a call connected. "General," Trump said, "I need immediate intel on a refugee camp in northern Pakistan. We may have allies there. Confirm it and report back." "Yes, sir," Lawson answered. "We'll look into it right away." Trump hung up and turned back to Ethan. "If they're alive, we'll find them. But I need to know something. Are you ready for what happens next?" "I'll do whatever it takes," Ethan said firmly. Trump gave a thin smile. "Good. Because if this mission is approved, you're going back in." The next morning, Ethan received the call he had prayed for. General Lawson's voice came through with cautious optimism. "Captain, we've got eyes on the camp. There's a woman and a teenage girl who match your description." "Ruffy's family," Ethan breathed. "Possibly," Lawson confirmed. "But there's a complication. Enemy forces are monitoring the area. Any large-scale military action could trigger an international incident." Then Trump joined the line. "We're going to get them out," he said, "but it has to be quiet. A small extraction team, no official involvement, and you'll be leading it." "Understood, sir," Ethan answered. "This mission matters," Trump added. "You gave your word. Now let's bring them home." Ethan flew to a covert base in the Middle East, where he met the handpicked operatives assigned to him. Major Sarah Hayes, an elite Special Forces officer, greeted him with a handshake. "So you're the pilot willing to risk everything for a promise," she said. "That's right," Ethan replied. "Then let's get to work." The plan was simple on paper. Infiltrate the camp at night, locate the targets, extract them, and leave before anyone realized what had happened. No unnecessary violence, just speed and precision. "We only get one shot," Hayes reminded the team. "If we fail, they're as good as dead." "Then we won't fail," Ethan said. That night a Black Hawk helicopter carried them through the cold desert darkness toward Pakistan. As the aircraft touched down outside the camp's perimeter, Ethan and his team slipped out, moving silently with night vision goggles. Moments later, Ethan spotted the correct tent. He motioned to Hayes. "That's them." They hurried forward, but a lone guard appeared from the shadows, reaching for his radio. Hayes reacted instantly, dragging him back and muffling his shout. Ethan knocked the device from his hand and, after a brief hesitation, rendered the man unconscious. They lifted the tent flap. Inside, a frightened woman and a teenage girl stared at them. Ethan crouched low. "Ruffy sent us," he whispered. "We're here to take you to safety." Tears filled the woman's eyes. "You came, after all these years." "Yes," Ethan said. "Now we need to move." Before they could reach the helicopter, an alarm blared across the camp. The silent mission became a desperate race. Guards flooded the area, gunfire cracking through the night as the team sprinted for extraction. "Cover them!" Hayes shouted. Ethan shielded Ruffy's wife and daughter as best he could. The Black Hawk loomed ahead. "Incoming hostiles!" the pilot warned over the earpieces. "Get here now!" At last they reached the chopper. Ethan helped the civilians inside and climbed aboard as Hayes yelled, "Go!" The helicopter lifted off under heavy fire. An RPG streaked past, missing by inches. The pilot swerved violently. Ethan wrapped his arms around the mother and daughter, his heart hammering. "We need to lose them," Ethan shouted. The aircraft climbed higher into the night sky. Ethan looked at the terrified faces beside him and felt a surge of determination. 10 years ago he had failed. Tonight he finally had a chance to make things right. And this time he had kept his promise. Hayes leaned out of the helicopter and fired at the enemy positions below. "We'll make it," she said into her earpiece. "Just hold on." A shrill alert cut through the cockpit as another missile launched from the ground and locked onto them. "Flays, now," the pilot commanded. The Black Hawk released a blazing burst of countermeasures. The missile wavered, drawn toward the bright decoys, then veered off course and exploded in the distance. "We're clear," the pilot announced. Ethan let out a shaky breath and turned to the woman beside him. "You're safe now," he told Ruffy's wife. Tears streamed down her face. "I never thought this day would come." "Ruffy made me promise," Ethan said quietly. "I couldn't break it." Yet even as relief settled in, he sensed there were still dangers ahead. Hours later, the helicopter touched down at a secure Allied base. Medics hurried in to examine the woman and her daughter. Ethan stayed close, exhaustion finally catching up with him. The girl, no older than 13, looked up at him. "You knew my father." Ethan nodded. "He was the bravest man I ever met." Her voice trembled. "They took him from us. We thought no one would come." "I made him a promise," Ethan replied, fighting to keep his composure. "I should have come sooner." Ruffy's wife placed a gentle hand on his arm. "You came when you could. That's what matters." A soldier approached the communications desk. "Sir, President Trump wants to speak with you." Ethan stood and headed for the radio. "Captain Cole here," he said, lifting the handset. Trump's voice came through calm and direct. "I heard what happened. You did good, Captain, but we have one last thing to take care of." "What is it, sir?" "Ruffy's family isn't completely safe yet," Trump said. "If they stay where they are, the enemies will come for them. I've arranged immediate asylum in the United States." Ethan's stomach tightened. "Where can they go?" "They'll be coming home to America," Trump answered. "And we need to move fast. Bureaucracy could slow things down, but I won't let that happen." A wave of relief washed over Ethan. "Thank you, Mr. President." Trump chuckled. "I'm just making calls. You did the real work." Ethan turned back to Ruffy's wife and daughter. "You're going to America. You'll be safe there." "Really?" the girl asked, hope lighting her eyes. "After everything we've been through," her mother whispered, choking back a sob, "we finally have a future." "Yes," Ethan said with a warm smile. "And Ruffy would want you to live it fully." That same night, Ethan and his team escorted the family to a waiting military plane. As they approached the runway, a warning crackled over the base radio. Possible hostile movement near the perimeter. "They found us," Ethan muttered. "We need to get them airborne now," Hayes snapped. The engines roared to life. The family boarded quickly while Ethan remained on the tarmac, scanning for threats. Through his night vision goggles, he spotted figures moving in the shadows. "Contact! Southeast perimeter," a guard shouted. Gunfire erupted. Ethan dug behind cover and returned fire. They only needed a few more seconds. Moments later, the transport plane lifted off and soared into the sky, safely out of reach. "They made it," Ethan breathed. Hayes grinned. "Now we make sure we do too." Enemy forces pressing around the base as Ethan and his team retreated toward a reinforced bunker. "Hold them off until reinforcements arrive," Hayes shouted. Ethan focused on his training, moving with precision as explosions rocked the ground nearby. Mortar rounds thundered outside as they sprinted for shelter. "Inside! Now!" Hayes ordered. The radio crackled again. "Reinforcements en route. Hold your position." Ethan glanced at Hayes. "Think we can last?" She smirked. "We don't have a choice." The firefight raged until a deep, distant rumble rolled across the desert. "Armored vehicles inbound," a soldier yelled. A squad of friendly forces stormed the battlefield, cutting through enemy lines. The attackers broke and fled. The last scattered shots faded into silence. "We did it," Hayes shouted. Ethan exhaled, sweat dripping from his face. "We're clear." Trump's voice came over the line. "Nice work, Captain. You earned yourself a damn good night's sleep." "I'll take you up on that, sir," Ethan replied with a tired laugh. Days later, Ethan stepped off a transport at Andrews Air Force Base. He was exhausted, but lighter than he'd been in years. "You look like hell, Captain," a familiar voice said. Ethan turned to see President Trump smiling beside the convoy of waiting SUVs. "Mr. President." "You did good," Trump said, shaking his hand. "You didn't just save 2 lives. You kept a promise most people would have forgotten." "I couldn't let Ruffys sacrifice me nothing," Ethan replied. Trump nodded. "That's what separates real leaders from the rest." A few nights later, Ethan stood in the White House East Room in full uniform beside his team. In the front row sat Ruffy's wife and daughter, safe at last. President Trump addressed the crowd. "Integrity isn't just a word. It defines our heroes." Captain Ethan Cole understood that and stood by his promise. Applause thundered as a distinguished flying cross was pinned to Ethan's chest. He saluted, honoring the memory of the man who had made it all possible. After the ceremony, Ethan stepped outside into the cool Washington night. Ruffy's family approached him with grateful smiles. The girl handed him a small pendant. "This belonged to my father. He would want you to have it." Ethan accepted it with reverence. Standing on the White House steps, gazing at the city lights, he felt something he hadn't known in years. Peace. "So what's next, Captain?" Trump asked. Ethan smiled. "Not sure yet, sir. But I know one thing. If a promise is worth making, it's worth keeping, no matter how long it takes." "Damn right," Trump said with a grin. As Ethan walked away toward the waiting lights of Washington, he knew his journey wasn't over. But for the first time in a decade, he wasn't running from the past. He was walking toward the future. And Ruffy would have been proud.